Yo, what's up? It's Jason. I'm back with another video and another collection update. This time we're diving deep into the 80s disco, funk, soul, a little bit of hip hop thrown in there as well for good measure. A lot of singles, a couple of albums, and some great stuff basically. This is all stuff from a Discogs order. Actually, been ordering from this guy a couple times now. I think he's based in Quebec somewhere. Had to have been a DJ or is still a DJ. Got loads of great stuff from the 80s. Pretty nice condition for most of the records. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. So starting off with this one from Fourth Floor Records label out of New York City. Artist called Bamboo. I Can't Quit. This is a sick single with Led Zepp samples of Robert Plant talking about I Can't Quit You. And Bamboo is actually a certain Lenny D and Tommy Masudo. You see the credits in here. Lenny D, of course, going on to doing some crazy hard techno gabber out of the New York scene. But this is 80s House, 1987. Actually, the first group to be on this label. The second single, I think, by them on Fourth Floor Records, which is a great label. If you're looking for 80s style club music, early house, garage, late disco, check out Fourth Floor. If you see that label or that logo or that text, pick it up. There's some Todd Terry was on this label with Black Riot, also Masters at Work, and a lot of other well-known house artists getting their first breaks on Fourth Floor. Now this is also recorded at D&D recording studios, which is very well known in the hip hop world and actually became a record label for a while. D&D Records, which had like Jero the Damaja, Black Moon, and a lot of good New York City hip hop. So this record's oozing New York City, dripping in goodness. Great club track, basically. Happy to get that. Never saw it in the wild before or even heard of it. Next one, some of you guys might have heard of this band before. This is Visage, and I think they're from the UK, I believe. Visage, the dance mix, produced by Mitch Ure, and 1981, and Second Steps on the back. So Mitch Ure and Visage, really cool stuff, kind of 80s synth pop, I guess you would say. It's definitely a club-related single, and it will be going into my mixes. Then we got a techno single, not from the 80s. This is from the 90s. I don't see a date on it, but I'm pretty sure from the 90s because of this label, the Bush label out of the UK. Been kind of picking up stuff, anything that I see on this label. Just quality, usually fairly chuggy techno, but not too derivative. I think kind of interesting and specific enough to pick up. So this one is Filter Science, Darkness Falls, and Endemic Energy. Written, produced, mixed by Shane Andrews is on the production deck for this one. So that's on Bush Records. Techno single. And we got some hip hop with Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. This one is actually called, is going by Grandmaster and Melly Mel. I think because he wanted that extra credit for songwriting, or did they have some kind of falling out or some kind of beef between the two of them where he had to have his name on the same level as Grandmaster? Grandmaster and not having the Flash. I'm getting a little obsessed with, I need to know why the name change. Anyway, this single is sick, totally one of their best tracks. I already have the Message on vinyl. This one is White Lines, Don't Do It, and just a really sick bass line on this one. Later on, covered by Duran Duran in the 90s on their like Notorious album days. But yeah, this is the OG Grandmaster Flash doing White Lines. Some really cool hooks on this. Great single. Another older one from the 80s, a group I had heard of, comes in this sleeve. This is SPK on Elektra, and they're kind of like a little bit on the EBM industrial side of synth pop. synth house, maybe I should call it. Machine Age Voodoo, Space Junk mix, special crash mix on one side. And this side has 3 tracks: Metal Dance, High Tension, and Machine Age Voodoo. So they're definitely feeling the machine calling them. SPK. Pretty good band to pick up. Not a bad single. Probably one that I played the least out of this batch since I just got this batch like about a week ago, and I've been tearing through it like crazy. This is a 2000s record single, but it's referencing an 80s classic by the Jungle Brothers, I'll House You, You're in My Hut Now. So this one's called You're in My Hut Now by Hoxton Whores from the UK. They were kind of a 2000s production outfit, and it's on yellow vinyl as well, this thing. And then you have sort of a deeper version on the other side. It's kind of a cool remake, 2000s era production, but not too irritating, because some of the house music that came out in the 2000s, especially on the commercial tip, is very electro house and not, well, we'll just say kind of dated very fast. This is kind of a cool, like, bootleg thing, basically. Hoxton Whores doing Jungle Brothers with the sample intact. Then we got an album here to show from the 80s. The Man, Billy Ocean. I've been all about Billy Ocean lately. It started off with Caribbean Queen, and it has not let up. Loverboy. Now I'm digging into the older Billy Ocean stuff. This is early Billy Ocean. I think his second album. It's called City Limits. I never heard this one before. It's from 1980. This solid album. 9 songs in total. I'd say only maybe 1 or 2 that are kind of soft sauce, but basically lots of gems on this sucker, including the title track City Limit is really nice groove to it, but side 1 kicks off Stay the Night is the jam on this album for sure, but number 2 is really good too. What You Doing to Me, very good. Who's Gonna Rock You, Maybe Tonight. I think Maybe Tonight might be the slow jam on this one. Side 2, Are You Ready? Almost can't listen to it because it is absolutely Michael Jackson off the wall. So without Quincy Jones, but it sounds very similar to Michael Jackson production on that one, his disco era. So yeah, this is Billy Ocean making that transition, I think, from R&B disco over into 80s pop. So it wasn't, I don't recall any videos for this album. He hasn't blown up yet with the Caribbean Queen stuff or Get Out of My Dreams, Get in My Car. This is early Ocean, and if you see it, pick it up. It's great if you're into like funk, soul, and disco. Good album. Got another copy of this. Decided I needed one for my DJ sets. And it is a great track. This is the laid back Sunshine Reggae. Nobody plays that side, but the B side is White Horse, which a lot of people know. That was also redone in the 2000s sort of house scene. And this is originally from 1983 on Sire Records. Laid back. I think they're UK, and they're trying to do like a reggae kind of dance vibe, hence the Sunshine Reggae. But White Horse is really the jam on this single, the B-side. I had this before, but I don't know what happened to it, so I got another copy. Good to have. And we got some cheesy disco, I think, just from the cover alone. This is reeking of disco 70s era. Boogie Down by Blackwell. I'm saying cheesy because who is this Blackwell guy? So I look him up, and he's like a composer from Germany or something. So a lot of string action going on this thing. It's on Butterfly Records. It's 78, so it's definitely 70s disco. I kind of prefer 80s disco because the 70s, unless it's got a lot of funk influence, the 70s have a lot of string arrangement, which I'm not always a huge fan of. I think it gets in the way of the groove, but anyway, there it is, Blackwell disco record for sure. Another album to show off from the 80s. I got a copy of your Rhythmic's Revenge. One of the few Rhythmics that I didn't have in my collection, but I remember it well when it came out. Loved this album when it came out on cassette. I had the tape when I was a kid. And Thorn in My Side is really a big fave still of mine. So you got Missionary Man as well. Take Your Pain Away. So there's still some hits. It's not as synth wavy as Sweet Dreams and the earlier stuff. More instruments, but great songwriting, great singing, of course, by Annie Lennox. So got that. Couple more to go. This is a huge haul. This is all from one seller, one kick-ass by Joyce Sims. I've shown Joyce Sims quite a few times the last year. I've stocked up on all her singles, I feel like. I got at least 3 of them, maybe 4. This is Lifetime Love, another dope jam from Joyce Sims. She really bridges the gap between the whole R&B funk into house music, and she's got great production. I'm pretty sure she's got some Mantronic on here. Yep, and it's on Sleeping Bag Records too, which is a New York City hip-hop label, or very well known for hip-hop. EPMD, Mantronics, and some great club singles too, Joyce Sims. I remember as a kid reading the NME, New Musical Express from the UK, and they would have their club charts in the back, their hip-hop charts, and Sleeping Bag would be all over there. Joyce Sims would be in there, Todd Terry, all the stuff from like the late 80s is like 86, 87, 88. This one is 87, so right in the mix. Love that single. Another one from, I think, 87 as well, from another indie kind of label out of New York City. This is on Big Beat. Oh, sorry, this is 91, so we're getting a little into the 90s. Jomanda, Got a Love for You. Sick early house. Again, early 90s house, done well. Very well produced. Got a nice horn line that you will recognize immediately because it's copied in a million other songs, or they probably copied it themselves. Additional production remixes by Steve Silk Hurley out of Chicago. So it's got the right mix of people involved here on Jomanda. And I didn't know this one. I have not seen this in the wild, or didn't pay attention anyway, but now I got it. Pretty happy with that. I had to go and search some of these on digital afterwards just so I could have them in my digital set, because I don't always get a chance to spin with vinyl. And last but not least, we're going to round this out with an album, Instant Funk, Witch Doctor. This is some 70s disco, but done right with lots of funk infused. And it's 79, so it's late 70s. And it's on the Sal Soul record label, which is a classic disco, New York disco label. I believe Sal Soul actually had one of the very first extended mix 12 inches by, was it by Instant Funk? I have to look that up, but I think they had one of the very first disco 12 inches. And this album is solid, lots of cool funk influences on here, and of course the crazy bass line disco track Slap Slap Lickety Lap opens off the album. That is mixed by Larry Levan, R.I.P., one of the legendary late disco pre-house DJs of New York City, Larry Levan. If you haven't seen the movie Maestro, go check that out. All about the history of Larry Levan, and who passed away like in the 90s. And Body Shine is on here. I think that's a good one too. Witch Doctor, I Have a Dream. There's at least 2 killer cuts on this one, maybe 3. And pretty cool album cover too. There's the guys in the back. So Instant Funk on Sal Soul Records. That is my vinyl collection update in terms of 80s fresh. Funk, disco, soul, R&B, house, hip-hop, synth. We covered some ground on that one. And guess what? All of that from one seller, one box. I'll see you guys on the next one.